We've taken in so many other breaking news items over the last several days. 300 American Marines getting ready to head back to Helmand to help fight the surging Taliban there. I'm joined by Ben Collins, a veteran of the Army Special Forces, Green Beret, who served 3 tours of duty in Afghanistan. Ben, when you saw that headline, what did you think?
Well, I tell you, it broke my heart. I mean, the Marines left Helmand in 2014, and that's when we turned over Camp Leatherneck and Camp Bastion over to the Afghans. The Marines, over the course of the fight, and they were predominantly in the southern region, they were in Helmand, they lost 378 men and women during their battle against the Taliban. And about a year ago, I think the Taliban controlled about 20% of the Helmand Province, and today they control about 85% of the Helmand Province. So it's heartbreaking to see the loss of 378 get lost again, and we have to resend more Marines into the area.
You know, it's interesting that you talk about territory and territory loss, Ben. The Taliban right now controls more territory in Afghanistan than any point since 2001. Why did that happen? What do we do about it? What's the threat to us?
Well, you know, look, the reality is that, you know, during the Afghan surge, I mean, we had over 100,000 soldiers that were there, and we were just really starting to make gains. We have about 9,800 soldiers that are in Afghanistan. That's effectively, they're there, you know, once we ended the combat operations, even though we lost a Green Beret 2 months ago or so. You know, they're there to train the police or so. But territory is key here, Jenna, especially the Helmand Province, where they're going back in, because, you know, that's the heart of the poppy growth and the opium trade that fuels and finances the insurgency. It makes about $4 billion a year. So it's a very key node of control that the Taliban always want to maintain. And again, now they've got 85% of that province back, so they've got access to those funds to continue the insurgency.
I see what you're saying. It's not without a lot of thinking to send back the 300 Marines to this particular area because of the money that is funding terrorism in Afghanistan and potentially outside as well. We're going to hear from the president tonight. He's going to be making a speech about his closing argument, his closing statement about his time as president. You mentioned that combat operations are officially over in Afghanistan. That's something that he's talked about a lot. Let's move forward. What does the next president, President-elect Trump, encounter with having to inherit what's happening in Afghanistan? What decisions will he have to make?
So I think the first decision that they have to make is what is going to be, you know, what are our national interests in Afghanistan and how far are we willing to go? Look, we've been 15 years in this war. You know, we've lost about 2,500 soldiers. We've spent about $1 trillion. So what's next? What do we have to do? And the fact is, I think we've always had a very unrealistic political strategy in Afghanistan that was nested with a very inconsistent military strategy. So once we figure out what are the realistic expectations for Afghanistan, because look, they have no baseline economy, there is no infrastructure, there's no transportation, so there's no real commerce. We are their economic stability. So what can we realistically accomplish from a political aspect, and then what can we accomplish from a military perspective? And I think the people that he surrounds himself with are just the right people to have that answer for him.
A lot of folks with a lot of experience overseas.
Absolutely.
Ben, great to have your expertise as well.
Thank you, Jenna.
Appreciate it very much.